Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to break any news or drop any bombshells on you this evening, but I think we are all in common understanding, and we are all in the know, hopefully, that Eric Bischoff was not on SmackDown Live. He had nothing to do with SmackDown Live this evening. He was there. He was there monitoring, getting a feel. He was doing light work in preparation for when he takes over SmackDown Live, which will be, reportedly, after Extreme Rules. This I have to see. Now, Eric Bischoff did not have anything to do with SmackDown Live. Paul Heyman had nothing to do with Monday Night Raw. Because if he did, and there was Paul Heyman DNA on Monday Night Raw, that should be the last time he ever steps foot in a creative capacity on Monday Night Raw. But I am not going to throw Paul Heyman under the bus just yet. I mentioned yesterday on the podcast, right here for Monday Night Raw, that the only reason why people shit on me for taking a stance on Monday Night Raw was because everyone in the community uttered the same exact thing. It was a good show. It was a good show. One says it and you multiply like a fucking plague. And then when one person who wants to be on the outside speaks the truth and lets you know exactly what is going on, they're labeled the outcast, and everybody looks down upon them as if they're fucking crazy. Everybody got it in their mind last night on Monday Night Raw that Monday Night Raw was going to be better because Paul Heyman's name was attached to the show now as executive director. I didn't get that sense or feel that with anybody in the community on social media. I didn't get that feeling at all with Eric Bischoff. I didn't see people cursing me out tonight like they did on Monday Night Raw. Where was everybody tonight? Or is it that Paul Heyman is much more popular, which is a given, much more popular and respected than Eric Bischoff? But why aren't you showing Eric Bischoff the same amount of hope and praise in his new role for SmackDown Live as you do Paul Heyman? Is it going to be a one-sided affair as always with Raw and SmackDown? Or are you guys that fucking stupid to realize that last night in what I stated that I was 100% correct in my assumption of everybody in the community? Everybody wanted so badly. I don't know if you guys understand this. I want Monday Night Raw to be good. You think I want to come on here and bitch? You think I want to come on here and be Mike Kanellis? A bitch? No, I want Monday Night Raw to be good. I want to enjoy my 3 hours. But I stated it last night. Everybody wanted Monday Night Raw to be so great because of the news that broke with Paul Heyman being attached to Monday Night Raw as the overseer of creative. And if you shit on the show, you are in a direct path of the hurricane that was social media. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody got this hope that things were going to change, and if you shit on the show, fuck you. But what we got last night was the same thing that we get every single week, with Corey Graves saying a curse word, and then Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley going through the LED board. That's all we got. After that, the show was the same generic, directionless, lifeless, soulless garbage that we got every single week. And I'm wondering why none of you said that about SmackDown Live tonight. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Paul Heyman had nothing to do with Monday Night Raw. Eric Bischoff had nothing to do with SmackDown Live. They will not have anything to do with their particular shows until after Extreme Rules and going on into the fall months right before Fox Sports. Simple as that. I mentioned on Off the Script as well that everything, and you guys need to really take this into consideration. Everything that was announced as far as Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff go, it is not out of the question for WWE to merely make these announcements and put them directly in the line of fire, so when shit goes wrong, they are to blame. And all the heat comes off Vince McMahon. I am not wrong in my line of thinking as far as that goes. In fact, I haven't heard anybody else bring up that point of view at all. Now, it might be out there, it might be too out there for you, for the common plebeian, but you have to think about it. You really have to think about it. Another thing I want you guys to think about is, how likely is it of Vince McMahon to put Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff in their roles, still creatively book these shows 9 out of 10 ways that he wants to, push his agenda out, and have them look like the fools instead of him? Again, it all reverts back to the first point I tried to make, with him wanting to take the heat off of himself, so he puts them in the line of fire. Again, not out of the realm of possibility. SmackDown was not a good show. It was not a bad show. It was just there. It existed. There was more questions than answers. There was more whys on top of whys on top of whys. Why does WWE do this? Why did WWE do that? Why didn't they do this? Why didn't they do that? Why? I should not be asking why 7 different times in the first 20 minutes of a program. I should be dived right in, and I should be excited about what WWE is presenting me. That does not happen on SmackDown Live. That certainly doesn't happen on Monday Night Raw, and that's not going to happen for a very long time. It's a step in the right direction, people said. A step in the right direction. If you thought Monday Night Raw was a step in the right direction, I don't know what you've been watching for the last 6 months. They haven't changed course whatsoever. Monday Night Raw has been headed down a very treacherous path. And after last night, they did not steer that boat in the right direction. They continued going down that treacherous road, and I don't know where they're going to end up. I hope Paul Heyman can change this shit around. I hope Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff can change Raw and SmackDown. I hope that they don't have any handcuffs as far as Vince McMahon goes. We haven't seen anything yet. I didn't expect to see anything yet. I'm not shitting on them because I know they had absolutely nothing to do with their shows this week. But when it is good, I have to reiterate this again. When it is good, I will tell you. Believe me. What I did like about SmackDown Live tonight was Samoa Joe. I know I've shit on Samoa Joe in the past couple of weeks. Rightfully so. Not his fault. It's all WWE. I enjoyed the way WWE portrayed Samoa Joe, and then they changed my tune almost immediately, and they made Joe look like a fucking fool and a loser after cutting such a great promo on Kofi Kingston. I love the fact that Heavy Machinery is getting a push on SmackDown Live as far as the Tag Team Championships go. I'm happy that Heavy Machinery got a reaction from the crowd. I just wish WWE would put a lot more effort and stock into the legit tag teams that they have on their roster and start building the tag team division the way it deserves to be built. That's all I really give a shit about. I've been asking for it for years. Focus on tag team wrestling. The brand split continues to be non-existent. Monday Night Raw is SmackDown Live, and SmackDown Live is Monday Night Raw. Half of the roster's still missing. The wild card rule, there is no rule. The women's division is in shambles. There's one storyline just leading the charge on both shows, and it's Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross. Becky Lynch doesn't even have anything to do with the women's division. They've integrated the men's and women's division for Extreme Rules. And Becky Lynch really wasn't setting the world on fire anyway with her own division with Lacey Evans. I wish the WWE would get back to doing what they were doing with the women instead of giving me one-sided storylines, leaving half the roster to do nothing. And we'll talk about that as well. Why is Dolph Ziggler still on my television? I don't get it. I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand why he's getting title shots. I don't understand why the losers on these shows benefit more than the winners do. I don't get it. I really don't understand it. And Aleister Black, someone knocked on his door last week and they weren't there when he supposedly went to go open the door. Good old fuck you by WWE. We'll talk about that as well. And who I think is his mystery opponent at Extreme Rules. Who I think it is and who I would actually want it to be. So we'll go over all that today right here on the podcast. Make sure you guys follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That's on Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. If you guys want to join and become a member of the channel, hit that join button. You guys are going to get off the script early every single weekend, as well as access to my off the script Discord server. So thank you guys so very much for signing up and becoming a member of the channel. You guys on Patreon, thank you guys as well. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. If you guys want to show appreciation to Off the Script and the podcast here on a weekly basis, completely optional. It's the only way to get exclusive content not available on YouTube. What you guys are going to get is Off the Script early, access to the Discord server, and you guys are going to get Raw, SmackDown, NXT, and Off the Script extras when they are available in audio formats. They are not available on Spotify or iTunes. They are only available to you guys only. So there you go, man. Make sure you guys sign up. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Is Vince McMahon bringing in Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff for real change or to take the heat off of him? That was Off the Script Part 2 on Saturday. Covered Fyter Fest on Sunday. Monday Night Raw. It was Paul Heyman's first night, supposedly. If it was, it should have been his last. One of the worst Monday Night Raws of the entire year. People were complaining to me it was a step up from what we got. It was a step up from what we've been given. Folks, what you've been given was bottom of the barrel trash. That's not saying a lot, and you're comparing shit to bullshit. So, your argument there really is non-existent. And obviously, part 1 of Off the Script, which was on fire, if you guys missed out on Friday, Seth Rollins throws Jon Moxley under the bus, defends Vince McMahon's creative in a Sports Illustrated interview. If you guys want my open forum to Mr. Rollins, Friday's episode is for you, man. Some people were saying that it was the best open to Off the Script that they've ever heard. So make sure you guys go and check that out. Everything you need is linked in the top right corner. That annotation, drop it down. Everything you need will be right there. Podcast tonight is brought to you by Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. Make sure you guys sign up using our unique link and support our friends over at Audible. audibletrial.com/offthescript is going to get you guys 30 days free of Audible service, and that includes one free audiobook of your choice. JD, I definitely want to support, and I love getting shit for free. What do I got to do? Well, Senor Goon, all you have to do is pick up your mobile device, iPhone or Android, download the app. It is completely free. The Audible app is completely free. You're going to go through the sign-up process using our unique link. You will not be billed. And then Audible's going to give you 30 days free and grant you one free audiobook of your choice. If you don't like the service, if you feel like Audible's not for you and you want to sign up simply to support me and Off the Script, you guys can cancel anytime in the 30 days and keep your audiobook for free. Great deal, great way to support the show. Once again, that's audibletrial.com/offthescript. SmackDown Live started off with Tom Phillips, Corey Graves, and Byron Saxton all looking very concerned about one Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. Now, I understand that WWE wants to play off the fact that it was one of the biggest moments of the year on Monday Night Raw. But I've been watching Monday Night Raw since the debut episode in 1993. I have seen every episode of Monday Night Raw. And when they say it was one of the most memorable moments in the history of the company, I find that very hard to believe. I enjoyed last night. I said it on the podcast last night. I'm going to say it here again. I enjoyed it last night. The 20 minutes or so that was the open to Monday Night Raw was very different from what we usually seen on Monday nights. It was a great way to start the show. It wasn't a long-winded 30-minute promo with 5 minutes of wrestling in the first hour. It was chaos, it was unpredictability, and it was a big angle that's really seen WWE kind of come out of its shell for about 20 minutes. After that, the show fell off a cliff. And WWE's replaying this, and they're giving me updates on Lashley and Strowman. And I don't really understand why there's a need to talk about it still when they talked about it in nauseam on Monday night. This is why we need a brand split. I don't want to watch Tuesday and listen to them go over what happened on Monday 3 more times. I don't want to hear anything about Monday. I don't give a shit about what happened on Monday. Monday stays on Monday. Tuesday is about SmackDown Live. Tuesday is about all the people that you have in the back who are not on TV, who are wanting an opportunity on SmackDown Live. I don't care about what happened with Braun Strowman and Bobby Lashley. This is why we need separate brands for when Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff take over these shows. I don't expect it to happen immediately, but it needs to happen. It wasn't one of the most monumental, memorable moments in company history. That's stretching it just a little bit. Was it one of the best moments of the WWE calendar year for 2019? The answer is yes. But to go out there and say it was one of the most memorable moments on Monday Night Raw in its history, folks, that's WWE making something bigger than it really is. It was exactly what I stated it was last night. It was a great open, but it was WWE trying desperately to give you a talking point on Monday Night Raw, saying, hey guys, look at us. Don't worry about what else is going on in the wrestling world. We're cool too. We could be edgy as well. That's all it was. I didn't give a shit about it after Monday. And I doubt you guys did as well. So that's the way SmackDown opened. Another thing about these shows, and another thing that needs to be fucking abolished when Eric Bischoff and Paul Heyman take over, is active wrestlers on these shows should be forbidden forever to have their own talk show segment. I know I've mentioned this a few different times, but I really haven't expressed my hatred for it as of late. There's no way an active performer on the roster should be involved in a talk show putting over other superstars and other storylines when he himself, aka Kevin Owens or The Miz, don't really have much going on for themselves to begin with. I fucking hate that. Now, if you want to bring back a Hall of Famer like Edge and do the cutting edge, or if you want to bring back Christian and have the Peep Show, I am okay with that. I really am okay with that. But the fact that active superstars like Kevin Owens do more KO shows than actually have meaningful matches is quite sad. And it needs to stop. I am done with having these fucking talk shows take up the majority of TV time on Monday and Tuesday night. More so on Tuesday because WWE simply doesn't know how to book 2 hours of television. Kevin Owens, KO show, had Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon. Whoop-de-fucking-do. I hated these shows to begin with, and SmackDown Live is giving me Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon to start this show. I ask you very respectfully and quite politely, what does Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre have to say that is so important that I need to see them first to start SmackDown Live? Why are they given top priority on this show? What are they going to explain that they have not already explained on Monday Night Raw? Why is this? And Roman, Undertaker, weren't even there. So why is this happening on Tuesday night when we got the point on Monday? I don't understand it. This was 20 minutes wasted that could have went to anybody else, could have went to any other superstar, could have went to another tag team. You could have filled 10 minutes with a great women's match. They don't care. So right out of the gate, when people are asking me on Twitter, JD, is Eric Bischoff associated with this show? Is this his first night on the job? The answer is no. Because this was not an Eric Bischoff initiative. This was not an Eric Bischoff segment. This is Vincent Kennedy McMahon because he doesn't know any better. There's no reason for this to happen on Tuesday. And there's no way anybody could justify this segment, Shane, Drew, again on SmackDown Live, being a thing. I'm over it. Everybody is over it. I've seen people on Twitter actually state that Shane McMahon is making them miss Stephanie McMahon. I didn't think I'd ever hear the words Miss Stephanie McMahon in a fucking sentence before. Cut the shit, WWE. I cannot wait for there to be real fucking change. This is ridiculous. This storyline is dead. Dead. This is not doing any favors for Drew McIntyre. Shane McMahon is absolutely nauseating television. And there's no reason why a McMahon in Shane, who is the owner of WWE, is taking precedence over actual talent, hungry, waiting, wanting to get TV time. You're pretty much telling everybody in the back, you're worthless, and Shane McMahon is going to take us to the promised land. Meanwhile, the ratings when Shane McMahon, I'm assuming, are tanking, and the reason why SmackDown Live is below a 2 on a weekly basis. So they're there with Kevin Owens, and Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon walked out. Saxton says it's going to be surreal to see The Undertaker and Reigns as a team. So surreal, Mr. Saxton. So surreal. I can't wait. Because I can't wait to see The Undertaker back in the ring after what we've seen in Saudi Arabia. Unbelievable. So, Shane McMahon had Greg Hamilton introduce him correctly. Much better than Mike Rome on Monday night. Mike Rome needs to be abolished from ever doing Shane McMahon's entrance ever again. So KO threw it to a clip of The Undertaker showing up on Monday Night Raw last night. Still, I mentioned the KO show. I mentioned what's happening on Raw is being shown on SmackDown Live. There's no reason for us to see what happened on Monday here on Tuesday again and again and again. I don't get it. So they showed a clip of The Undertaker showing up on Monday Night Raw. Shane mocked being scared of Undertaker. Then he said he's making the match no holds barred because that's the only way Undertaker is actually going to have a decent match if there's no rules, because he can't really do much of anything else anymore. Drew smiled and said Taker and Reigns have to face the best in the world and the most dangerous superstar in the world. He said people know what they're capable of in a regular match, but now it will be a vicious physical assault like nobody has ever seen before. KO wanted them to throw to a specific clip. They showed Shane holding Drew back from going to Kevin Owens and beating the shit out of him. Shane looked genuinely scared. KO started to mock Shane for being scared. Shane told him to be a good little talk show host and do what you're told, as we agreed to before you came out here. So pretty much Kevin Owens is a bitch, and that's all he will be on SmackDown Live, a bitch. KO then read a card that said Shane beat Reigns at Super Showdown without anyone's help. Knowing that Roman fears that you and Drew will be fair any better with the... And he stopped. He read a different card and asked how it felt to lose to The Undertaker at WrestleMania after he made his return after 7 years away in 2016. Shane stood up, was upset. Drew McIntyre said this interview is bloody over, and he got between Shane and Kevin Owens. And then Buzz Killington comes out, a.k.a. Dolph Ziggler, and Dolph Ziggler throws in his 2 cents, and I ask why. What does Dolph Ziggler have to do with Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre and Kevin Owens? So Dolph Ziggler's out there. It should have been me. Dolph Ziggler. Now, he's there, and Kevin Owens immediately cuts him off, said he isn't going to come out here and say it should have been him over and over and over again. He yelled, yeah, it should have been you. It should have been me. It should have been you. It should have been you 8 years ago. It was kinda, then it wasn't, and it's not going to ever happen again, and it's not going to happen ever. Get over it. Fans were cheering Kevin Owens as if he was a babyface in this scenario. Which I wondered, why is Kevin Owens now trending to be a babyface here in this promo with Dolph Ziggler when Kevin Owens has been so against the New Day in recent months that he was a heel on SmackDown Live? No explanation, folks. No explanation. I guess we don't deserve one as far as WWE goes. So Ziggler says everyone knows it should have been him. I look the part, he says. You look like you should be entered in a hot dog eating contest. KO says if he was in a hot dog eating contest, he'd win. Whereas Ziggler can't say that about his wrestling matches. Ooh. I enjoy me a good hot dog, man. I really do. Nice split open potato bun. You split the hot dog down the middle. You turn it face down on the grill. You wait till it browns perfectly. You maybe gloss over it with a little spackle of butter. You turn it over. You grill it some more. And then, you take a nice little strip of cheese and you put the cheese right down the center of the hot dog. You put some spicy mustard over the cheese. You close it up and you got yourself a nice gourmet hot dog on a beautiful potato bun. Man, I'm fucking hungry. Man, I think that sounds a lot better than what I watched on Monday Night Raw and Smackdown Live. I know how to cook, bitch. I know how to cook. Anyway, that's a simple fucking thing to do. If you can't do that, you got something wrong with you. Anyway, they went at Kevin Owens' weight. Again, it's an easy target. This is Vince McMahon 101. This is not Eric Bischoff. There's no reason why we should be making fun of Kevin Owens' weight, even though he did have a witty comeback to Dolph Ziggler, ultimately calling him a loser. At least if I'm in a hot dog eating contest, I'd win, whereas where you wrestle, you always lose. So there you go. I enjoyed it, but it's kind of petty, and it's downright childish that in 2019 we're making fun of Kevin Owens' weight. It's not funny anymore. Every single person in a feud with Kevin Owens says it. Enough is enough. So KO told Shane to decide who gets the next opportunity against Kofi Kingston. Out of nowhere, as if Samoa Joe is already a loser. Kevin Owens wants Shane McMahon to give me the next opportunity against Kofi Kingston. So he wants Shane McMahon to announce who the number one contender is going to be or who the next in line to fight Kofi Kingston is going to be. Again, is Samoa Joe already a loser? Didn't really do Joe any favors with that line. Shane says he has an idea and he shuts them both up. He says there's been a lot of tag team champions who haven't gotten along, so he books them against heavy machinery. He said the winner of this tag team match will go on to Extreme Rules and be injected into the tag team championship match, which will now be a triple threat match. Originally, it was supposed to be Daniel Bryan and Rowan versus the New Day. That was it. And now we're getting a triple threat match for absolutely no reason. And the team of KO and Dolph Ziggler are teaming up for absolutely no reason. And that was pretty much it. Very, very bizarre booking. Very out there type of booking. Booking that is very reckless, folks. I had more questions in this segment. Or I had more questions in this segment, rather, than I did answers. The first question is, why is Kevin Owens being portrayed as a babyface when he's been a heel for the last several months? That didn't really make any sense to me whatsoever. Why is Dolph Ziggler, who is a 3-time loser to Kofi Kingston, Saudi Arabia, at the pay-per-view in the steel cage match, and then again on SmackDown Live the very next Tuesday in a 2 out of 3 falls match. 3-time loser for the WWE Championship. Dolph Ziggler, a 3-time loser, getting a tag team title shot for legitimately being a loser. Kevin Owens, a tag team title shot, teaming with Dolph Ziggler for basically being a loser. Kevin Owens is a proverbial jobber to the stars in 2019. And I don't want to say that. I don't want it to really be serious or I mean that in any way. That's exactly what it is, folks. Kevin Owens is a proverbial jobber to the stars in 2019 when he should be the guy at the top of the food chain. I don't understand that. Why Ziggler? I'd love somebody in WWE to let me know what the fuck is going on. Did Dolph Ziggler blow somebody in the back and now is being rewarded for it? Wins and losses really must matter in WWE. Because clearly the losers, the more you lose, the more you get granted opportunity. The more you win, the more you get fuck you. That's the only thing I could surmise. I don't get it. Is Dolph Ziggler related to Roman Reigns? Clearly doesn't look like it. Maybe he's Roman's fucking distant cousin. I don't know. And what type of team is Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens? Was it that difficult to give me Kevin Owens and, Sami Zayn? What happened to that pairing? They were just in a great tag team match at Stomping Grounds with the New Day, and then WWE wants to come right back around 2 weeks after the pay-per-view and book Kevin Owens in a team with Dolph Ziggler. How does that make any sense whatsoever? And where is Sami Zayn? Did he just fall off the face of the earth? Why aren't you pairing him with Kevin Owens? Oh, that's right. It makes too much sense. And they beat the New Day. They beat the New Day at the pay-per-view. And Kevin Owens has to come right back around and team with somebody who's not the guy he beat New Day with. And then lose. To not get a championship match. Folks, I do a lot of complaining. I know I do. But I am warranted in complaining. I have a mind for this business. That is indisputable. That is fact. Whatever I state here, more than likely, makes sense. I don't speak out of my ass. I don't know what you're watching. I don't know what you want to happen. I don't know how anybody could justify this is good television. It is my job to sit here and ask why. WWE gives me no why. I gotta ask why on top of WWE's lack of creativity. Come on. Get with the fucking program. This entire 25 minutes did not make any sense. Heavy Machinery are getting another opportunity at the tag team titles as well, and they lost at the pay-per-view. They've done nothing in between to get another shot. Nothing. None of this makes any sense. I want order. I want things to matter week to week to week. I am tired of seeing losers benefit from losing and the winners get shit out of luck. Do better. I hope Bischoff turns this ship around and the shit that I'm complaining about, the simple shit I'm complaining about, is fixed. It should not be this difficult. Moving on. Biggie versus Daniel Bryan was the first match. This was actually a very good match. And I love Biggie. I love Xavier. I think Kofi is great, even though he is a boring WWE champion, which I'm not going to completely blame on him. WWE has done him no favors. They have not lined up anybody credible for Kofi Kingston in this title reign. You figured that they would line up people for Kofi to take down, and they started doing that, but here we are with Dolph Ziggler. And here we are with Samoa Joe, who's not accumulated a single victory on his own coming out of WrestleMania. Not really credible. Words can only go so far, folks. Big E is very good in the ring. I love watching Big E. I've said this about the New Day time and time and time again. They could be throwing pancakes. They could be gyrating. They could be unicorning their way down to the aisle. Whatever. When these guys are getting down to business and need to wrestle, these guys are fucking great. I don't mind them being in the tag team title match because I know it's going to be a great match. I just want a reason as to why WWE has all these other tag teams, yet they still go back to using the New Day. The tired and true New Day. That's what I find to be an issue here. Biggie is great. He works great with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan, the only thing I have to complain about Daniel Bryan is he's taken too many losses as of late as a tag team champion. That should not be, because champions should not be losing on your program. And one other thing that's bothering me is, why are they still calling him the new Daniel Bryan? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds? He was calling himself that back in the fall of 2018. He's not new anymore. He's not new anymore. That wore off. So that directive of Vince McMahon, those little things, those little idiosyncrasies of Vince McMahon, they need to go away. He's not the new Daniel Bryan anymore. He is the Planet's Tag Team Champion, Daniel fucking Bryan. So, minor criticisms there. This was a very good match for what it was. Bryan wins in 9 minutes. I'm glad that Bryan got a win, but winning clean on these shows seems to be a very impossible task. Daniel Bryan wins here with Eric Rowan gaining an advantage on the outside and assisting Daniel Bryan here. Bryan sidestepped Biggie, and Biggie tumbled to the floor with a dive, that signature dive that he does where he almost kills himself every single time. Yeah, he missed it. Bryan charged at Biggie. Biggie hit him in midair with an elbow. Rowan then shoved Biggie into the ring post, and then Xavier tried to come in and save the day. Rowan knocked him out. Bryan then hit a running knee after Rowan threw Biggie back into the ring, and that was pretty much the story here. And Daniel Bryan wins in 9 minutes with the big knee. Nothing really special. It was a decent TV match. Daniel Bryan needed a victory. He got it. I just wish WWE would book these guys to look a little bit stronger. There's no reason why Daniel Bryan and the caliber of athlete that Daniel Bryan is can't beat Big E one-on-one without any outside interference. Yes, he's the heel, but it's not written in some fucking foreign language, or it's not written in the rule books where the heels have to always win by cheating, which we'll talk about a little bit when it comes to Andrade Cien Almas. Kayla said the tag team titles could switch hands at Extreme Rules. She introduced R-Truth. She tried to throw a replay from last night on SmackDown Live. He didn't want to see the replay from SmackDown Live. After the clip aired of Drake Maverick beating him for the 24/7 7-Eleven Monster / Mountain Dew / Vitamin Water title, Truth says he remembers when he went on his honeymoon. He says they started to go, but they couldn't go because it rained. He said they actually never went. He said that he heard Hornswoggle and his wife, and they were right. They're right there in San Antonio, Texas. He said, Mr. 7-Eleven European TV champ, I'm coming for you, and I want my baby back. I wonder where they're getting this 7-Eleven integration into R-Truth's European TV title skit. I've been saying it since day one. Yes, I know it's entertaining. And yes, the 7-Eleven title, if created, would probably be more valuable than the 24/7 title, because I know I get a bag of Lay's barbecue chips with every fucking purchase. Pathetic. Get this shit off TV. Truth is great. Truth's got some merchandise where you can make some money off of. Keep it to YouTube. That's all I ask. Hopefully that is another initiative set forth by Vince McMahon. Or not Vince McMahon. Vince will never do that because he's a fucking idiot. By Paul Heyman and Eric Bischoff. A Moment of Bliss was not hosted by Alexa, but it was hosted by Nikki Cross. Nikki came out, was super excited. She smiled and hopped up and down, and she looked out to the crowd. And she said, hello, San Antonio. She said she loves and admires Bliss so much. You may be the only one, honey. You may be the only one. She said she's from Glasgow, Scotland, and has a little bit of an accent, as you can hear. But she will be the best host she can be. She introduced her guest, Bayley. Bayley said she's surprised Alexa is giving her a little bit of the spotlight tonight. Nikki said she knows how Bayley feels about Alexa, but she said Alexa is more generous than she gives her credit for. Nikki says she is there to ask the tough questions. I got some tough questions of my own. Why is Alexa Bliss on SmackDown Live challenging for the SmackDown Live Women's Championship when she's a Raw superstar? Still, no answer to that question. Why is Alexa Bliss getting a title shot for basically doing no in-ring work whatsoever? Again, a very difficult question that I'm sure WWE has no answers to, and they're merely booking on appearance. Nikki Cross is another thing that I'm wondering about, which I'll touch on in a second. Why is Nikki Cross, who was in NXT, who was so hungry and so volatile, a loose cannon per se, so willing to give up a championship match that she actually earned to someone who doesn't deserve jack shit and is okay with it? Another one of those difficult questions that I'm sure WWE doesn't have an answer to. She asked why she called Alexa a liar. So Nikki asks Bayley why she called Alexa a liar. Bayley said she did it because she is a liar. Nikki says it's unfair how she disparages her. Bayley said last week Nikki beat her, and then last night she beat Carmella, which Alexa couldn't do. Bayley asks why she isn't getting the title shot at Extreme Rules, and Alexa is. Nikki stood and says she doesn't know that. I know why, because Nikki Cross is treated like a blithering idiot. But she does want to know why she's not facing Bayley in the ring right now. Wow. What intrigue for a match that nobody gives a shit about. Bayley stood and accepted the challenge, and we got Bayley versus Nikki Cross. This one went 3 minutes because that is exactly the maximum that the women could go on SmackDown Live. They do not exceed 3 minutes for whatever reason. Bayley to belly for the win, and that was pretty much it. So Nikki Cross gets the title shot for Alexa Bliss and then proceeds to lose to the champion. But hey, at least the champion got a win on TV and she's not in the losing column. Folks, I know where they're going with this Nikki Cross storyline. It is very predictable. It is very simple for the fucking simpleton out there that doesn't know what's going on. Nikki Cross will eventually, or hopefully, I would say, snap and go back to the old Nikki Cross. She's eventually going to realize that everybody, like Carmella and Natalya and Naomi and Bayley, are right when it comes to Alexa Bliss. She will find out the hard way that Alexa Bliss was using her the entire time. And I understand where this is going. And I understand that in the world of pro wrestling, WWE's taking a heel in Alexa Bliss and a babyface in Nikki Cross. And they're trying to build Nikki Cross off of whatever Alexa Bliss has going on for herself. I understand that. I really, 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 really understand that. And it's simple. This is where the storyline is going. But what I don't understand is how nobody is questioning how stupid Nikki Cross looks in this entire situation. Who willingly goes out there, knowing that they're being used, wins a match for a title shot, gives that title shot up for someone who doesn't deserve it, who you've known for maybe a month and a half. A title shot that you deserve, that you yourself should want since being on the main roster, willingly give that up to somebody else and have absolutely no say or no worry in you giving that up. She doesn't care that she gave up a title shot to Alexa Bliss. I mean, who does that? An idiot does that. You know, WWE had Nikki Cross in NXT. And if you guys watched NXT, and I don't know why you wouldn't, because it's the best product in North America right now. Why you got Nikki Cross in NXT, who is volatile, brutal, who wanted to literally fight anyone, anywhere, at any time, who should have been world champion down there for the women's division in NXT, who brought Asuka to the very brink of defeat in NXT. Why this woman has just completely done a 180 and resembles nothing like the old Nikki Cross. Now she's turned into a blithering idiot who doesn't know how to decipher what's right and wrong and can't decipher that she's being used by a known manipulator on the main roster. Nikki Cross was so white hot in NXT. WWE had a white hot Nikki Cross booked perfectly coming up from NXT, and they put her with Alexa Bliss because fuck you. They didn't know what to do with Nikki Cross. Let's pair her with Alexa Bliss. It's completely the polar opposite of what Nikki Cross is, and maybe this will work. And you know what, folks? It's not working. It's not working. Because it's making Nikki Cross look stupid, and Nikki Cross's momentum, and that white-hot Nikki Cross that we've seen, WWE has not, will not, and cannot get her back to where she was in NXT, the way she is on the main roster right now, with or without Alexa Bliss, with or without a women's championship. WWE dropped the ball on Nikki Cross, and that is fact. I don't give a shit, and I can't wait for them to move on from this shit and give Bayley some legit competition, which more than likely for SummerSlam is going to be a returning Charlotte Flair. Because why not? WWE has 80% of its roster just sitting idle. Let's get Charlotte back in another title match, even though she's been out for about 1 month. It's coming, folks. Believe me. Don't be surprised when you see it. A vignette of Ali aired saying he wants to bring change so people don't think their identity is predestined based on their name or family background. Yeah, let me see you try and change the WWE stance on the NOI family. Give me a break. Ali said, when the billboards have him as champ front and center, it will change minds. Well, man, listen, Ali, I love you, bro. WWE has a new SmackDown 6. One of them being Ali, if they want. You got to get on TV first, bro. You got to get back in the ring first, Ali. Then we can start talking about you possibly being a WWE champion. I mentioned this once. I'm going to mention it again. Survivor Series. What the theme of Survivor Series is going to be this November? Who the fuck cares? Hopefully by that point, we got Raw and Smackdown as separate brands, and they can continue the brand warfare. But Ali, Chicago, Survivor Series championship. Ali's from Chicago. If they don't give him the WWE title in Chicago, that's another missed opportunity for WWE. They could have done that and given him the Money in the Bank and had him cash in at Survivor Series in Chicago, and it would have been a great moment. Who did they decide to give the Money in the Bank to? Oh, that's right, Brock Lesnar, who doesn't give a shit about being on TV, who's probably being paid $9 million a year and doesn't give a shit about the briefcase, which right now I could honestly see sitting in the back of his fucking truck doing literally nothing but collecting dust. Kayla stood in the ring, introduced Kingston, and we had a stare down and a face-to-face with Joe and Kofi Kingston. Joe interrupted Kayla's first question, then suggested she get out of the ring to avoid collateral damage. That was an act of generosity, benevolence, and something that you're very familiar with, he said. Joe said, game recognizes game, and he knows a hustle when he sees it. He said he knows the truth about Kofi, that Kofi is also receiving help from his friends and using them just like he does. You're no better than me, says Joe. He said in a couple of years, Xavier might be his hype man, and Big E might be his butler. Kofi said at WrestleMania he beat Bryan for the WWE title all by himself. He said he beat Ziggler in a cage all by himself. He says at Money in the Bank he beat Kevin Owens all by himself. He says at Extreme Rules he'll beat Joe by himself. He asked Joe what he's done by himself lately besides losing the United States Championship title to Ricochet. So Kofi going on the I did it all by myself, I'm the big boy here rant to Samoa Joe. And then saying indirectly, or I guess directly, that Joe is a loser. Indirectly to the fans because it probably went right over their head and they don't realize what's been going on with Samoa Joe. But Kofi directly telling Joe that he is a loser. A loser. In front of everybody. He asks, what happened to the old Joe? Because now he's sneaking around attacking people from behind. The old Joe? What was the old Joe about? This is Samoa Joe as good as I know him. Not giving a fuck. An assassin. The Samoan bulldozer. This is what Joe does. This is the old Joe. The old Joe was a winner. The new Joe is a loser. But inside, the essence of the real Joe is still there. Now, let me keep it real with you for 1 second. Your ass is too big to be playing hide and seek. Joe says he's always really slick off the top with prepared answers. Talked about Kofi peddling his latest t-shirt to the fans who think he actually cares about them. Kofi says he's not mad about Joe insulting him and his family. It's because you're jealous. So he started a Jealous Joe chant. He says he will never have a moment like he had at WrestleMania to share with his kids, and that is what bothers him. Joe says everybody still exists in their willful ignorance. He says he will prove to the people what he really is. He told Kofi to shake his hand in recognition of one fact, that the last 2 weeks, when he put his ass to sleep, he came to the realization that what is standing in front of him is your next WWE champion. He said all deals have two sides. So for that small gesture of putting his ego aside, he'll guarantee the safety of him and all that he holds dear until Extreme Rules. Joe said Kofi knows that's a legit offer, so he asked if he's the man he pretends to be. Joe then went on to say he has 5 seconds. Kofi held out his hand, stared at him for a little bit, wanted the handshake, smiled, raised his hand, and gave him the middle finger. Now, the camera work here, I don't know if it was intentional, as if they wanted to kind of keep you guessing as to what he was doing, even though we kind of knew what he was doing. Then the camera kind of panned to the right, and we seen Kofi Kingston giving Samoa Joe the middle finger. Joe was angry. Kofi gave him the trouble in paradise. Kofi celebrated, and that was pretty much it. And Joe retreats after the trouble in paradise. This was excellent. This was a damn good fucking promo, but that's without question Samoa Joe. Anytime Samoa Joe is put in this type of segment or situation, the guy is absolutely the best on the roster. What I don't understand here is two things. One, we still haven't gotten an explanation. We haven't gotten a reason as to why Samoa Joe is the number one contender for the WWE title. He is a Raw superstar. And yes, I said this last week, JD, there is no brand split. Until WWE says there's no brand split, I will continue to assume that there is Raw and SmackDown Live. Joe is a Raw superstar. He hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything as far as getting a title shot. So why is he there? No explanation from Joe. No explanation from Kofi. No explanation from the commentators. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Number 2. Why are you giving Samoa Joe such a brilliant promo against Kofi Kingston and then have him at the end of all that he said eat one trouble in paradise, and that was it? You had Joe go through the motions here, delivering a great fucking promo, always believable, even though it's not. At the same time, because we all know Joe's a loser, he can always talk a big game, but never does he back up what he says. He's the new Bray Wyatt. But why give him such a great promo here and then have him ultimately result in looking like a loser? What did you do here? You accomplished nothing. And you simply erased everything that Samoa Joe stated right before the pay-per-view. 1 week left to go. Unless Joe comes out next week and chokes out Kofi Kingston. But what is that going to accomplish? We all know at the end of the day, Joe is a fill-in. He's not winning the WWE Championship. He's not. If Joe wins the WWE Championship on Fridays off the script following the pay-per-view, I'll wear my underwear on my head. It's not happening. This was great, but it accomplished absolutely nothing at the end of all of it. Apollo Cruz was walking backstage. Apparently he is one-on-one with Andrade Cien Almas. There you go. Who gives a shit? Almas has been off TV for personal reasons. Thoughts and prayers go out to him for whatever he was dealing with. I'm glad he's back. Always great to see Andrade. But Apollo Cruz, who gives a shit? The announcers talked about Lashley and Braun Strowman again. Phillips said there was conjecture about Braun maybe suffering multiple fractures and a ruptured spleen. Then they showed Bobby Lashley's Twitter saying Braun got what he deserved because he could have been electrocuted or maybe even something worse. No, we got to something worse as far as Monday Night Raw goes, Mr. Lashley. You, and I mean this, and it's very bizarre of me saying this, you were the best part of the show. We got to something worse, in the 2.5 hours that followed Bobby Lashley and Braun Strowman. He said Braun knew what he was doing and he didn't care. He said Braun got the worst of it, though, as he should have. He said next time he sees Braun, that son of a bitch, he's not sending him to the hospital. He's sending him to the morgue. So we got Corey Graves saying, oh shit, or holy shit, on Monday Night Raw. We got Kofi Kingston sticking up middle fingers. We got Bobby Lashley now threatening death and murder on Braun Strowman. Is WWE kind of easing off the PG? Are they going a little bit more risque? They're pushing the envelope? I don't know. Andrade and Zelina Vega versus Apollo Cruz. These guys did not even get entrances. They both got jobbers entrances. Why? Why is Andrade Cien Almas getting a jobber entrance? Is that all he's worth? I don't get it. That shit pisses me off. Andrade wins in 8 minutes here. Not a bad TV match. Not a bad TV match whatsoever. But I gotta go back to what I mentioned earlier. You know how Rowan helped Bryan win? Because he's a heel, JD? Why does Andrade Cien Almas need Zelina Vega to do the same spot every match? And against Apollo Cruz, nonetheless. Did we really need Andrade Cien Almas to get an assist from Zelina Vega on the outside to beat Apollo Cruz? What has Apollo done that he is up there as far as a threat goes to Andrade Cien Almas, where Andrade needs help to beat Apollo Cruz? I don't get it. Heels do not need to win in cheap fashion every single time. It honestly, yes, it's a W at the end of the night. And it's a W in their wins and loss column. But it honestly doesn't really make them look all that much credible if they can't do it on their own. And this is what some of these guys on this show don't have. They don't have any credibility. I don't think anybody on these shows, period, have any credibility. Kofi Kingston, your champion, doesn't even have credibility. He fucking passed out in a tag team match on Monday Night Raw. Should not be happening. Should not be happening to any champion on these TVs. Aleister Black said last week there was a knock on his door, but when he answered it, nobody was there. Maybe it was Triple H. Maybe it was Triple H wanting to take Aleister Black away, and Kevin Dunn came in and abducted him and said, no, you can't have him back in NXT. He said they are already fighting on a spiritual plane, him and this other person, this mysterious other person. He says he doesn't care about his reveal. He says he wants him to show up at Extreme Rules. He says when they will fight through the 7 layers of hell. He says he finds himself invigorated, for if you are man enough to knock on my door and reveal yourself at Extreme Rules, that is the person who picks a fight with me. And he smiled sadistically. I read that Paul Heyman is actually working very close with Aleister Black on his character and the development of who Aleister Black is going to be on the main roster. I find that to be very interesting because Paul Heyman is associated with Monday Night Raw. Does that mean that Heyman is still working with Aleister Black? I don't know. Possibly. There is no brand split, quote unquote. Maybe he is. And if that's the case, I'm a little bit more intrigued by what they're trying to tell with Aleister Black. I don't know what Aleister Black is going to be when he comes out at Extreme Rules. I honestly think the 3 months, nearing 3 months of him being off TV is not going to be very beneficial to him in Philadelphia. Maybe Philadelphia because that's the hardcore crowd. Maybe. I hope. But knowing WWE, keeping somebody off TV for 3 months and then throwing them on TV in an impromptu match, I don't know how the crowd's going to take to Aleister Black. It may be good, it may be bad. It may be good because it's Philadelphia. It may be bad because nobody knows who Aleister Black is. You took him and his momentum off of TV when the fans were just starting to get acclimated with who he was and what he brought to the show. Now you took him off TV. Nobody knows what to expect. We don't know if he's babyface. We don't know if he's heel. We don't know. Hopefully, we get a great match out of whoever he's in the ring with. Now, who is his mystery opponent? I heard rumors of it being Cesaro. I wouldn't mind that whatsoever. If it's Cesaro and Aleister Black at Extreme Rules, I could see them being match of the night. So Cesaro has nothing going on for himself. On Monday, he was neutralizing No Way Jose on Monday Night Raw. And then chasing the 24/7 shit around ringside. If it's Cesaro and Aleister Black, I could see that because you want to have a great match on Monday Night Raw or SmackDown Live. Cesaro is always a great go-to guy. I don't know who else it could be. Maybe Ali? Maybe it was Ali. I don't know. Anybody you put in the ring with that is a Cesaro or an Ali or anyone like that, it's going to be a great match for Aleister Black. So we'll see what happens. I'm intrigued by it. I thought that this has gone on too long for the reasons that I just cited. It may backfire on WWE. And him being off TV may be actually worse in the end for them. I hope I'm wrong. And if it is the rumored match with Cesaro, I got very excited about that when I read it, and you got my approval on it. Can't wait to see what happens. Mandy Rose with Sonia Deville versus Ember Moon. Moon wins in 3 minutes with the Eclipse. Who gives a shit? All these women deserve better. How you fuck up Ember Moon? I don't know. Mandy Rose was challenging for the Women's Championship. How did you fuck up her push? Now she feels completely irrelevant. But this is WWE. It is completely on WWE how they drop the ball on literally everybody. They can't book meaningful storylines in the division outside of the championship. They can't give me the championship and then a full, meaningful feud that we legitimately care about. Everything's got to last 60 seconds, 90 seconds, 3 minutes. And why are they even fighting? Why are they even fighting? Is it a reason that you're going to be interested in at the end of the year? No, it's mindless fucking television. Nothing that these women, especially this, nothing on these shows should be this unimportant. This is trash. Both women deserve better. Moon wins with the Eclipse in 3 minutes. Shelton Benjamin is there. Yes, Shelton Benjamin is alive. He is also employed. Voice off camera asked him who he think will win the WWE title at Extreme Rules. It sounded like Sarah Schreiber. His eyes darted around like he was watching, I don't know if it looked like he was watching the TikTok on a fucking clock. Or he was maybe watching a fucking fly or a bug fly around and zip around the room. And after 15 seconds, he smiled and then walked away. What does this mean? I don't know. Normally, I'd like to say everything that WWE puts on TV, they have some sort of plan or meaning for. I don't really think this is much of anything. But what my instinct tells me is that Shelton Benjamin, more than likely, is the next to challenge Kofi Kingston for the WWE Championship, being that they asked him about the WWE Championship. And that would make sense. He's been off TV since last year. Why not give him a championship match? I won't be surprised. Main event. Kevin Owens and Dolph Ziggler versus Heavy Machinery. WWE, at this point, I questioned, man, they haven't gone to commercial yet, and they haven't given you some silly stoppage in the middle of a match? I was wrong. At least when they did it here in this match, it actually made sense. Bryan, Rowan were sitting by Saxton, Graves, and Phillips. And the New Day had their orange table, pancakes strewn about, and you had Biggie, Kofi Kingston, and Xavier Woods there sitting by ringside. Or it was just Biggie and Xavier Woods. I don't think Kofi was there. So we had all these groups, all these individuals on the outside, and in the middle of the match, we get a huge brawl between Rowan, Bryan, Big E, and Xavier Woods on the outside to a point where they stop the match. They stop midway through the match to fucking get control of this brawl, and then they go to commercial, come back from commercial, and then the match continues. Creative, yes, but how many times can you do that over and over and over again before it gets boring? Not many. I appreciate the effort, but it is fucking ridiculous that this is their top priority. I'm glad that this was the only fucking thing that we seen as far as that goes. I'm glad we didn't see an elimination match. I'm glad we didn't see a 2 out of 3 falls match. I'm glad we didn't see a tag team match turn into a 6-man tag or a tag team match turn into an 8-man tag. This one was not bad. Ziggler and Owens, still don't know why this is a team and not Sami Zayn, but this was pretty good for a TV main event. Heavy Machinery wins here with the trash compactor on Owens and Ziggler. Ziggler was in the ring, and he received a headbutt and a spinning body slam from Big Otis. I love Big Otis, man. I love Big Otis. I think he's hilarious. I love Heavy Machinery. He eventually hit the Caterpillar. KO interfered. Of course he would. Ziggler mistakenly superkicked KO. Tucker clotheslined Ziggler over the top rope. Heavy Machinery then finished KO off with the trash compactor. And Heavy Machinery win to enter Extreme Rules and make the tag team title match a triple threat match. After the match, when Ziggler went over to KO, KO gave him the stunner. KO then kicked the bottom rope. He was very frustrated. He was being cheered. And they chanted one more time. And then WWE faded to black. They had to be off the air by 10 sharp. And I don't know if he gave Kevin Owens, I don't know if he gave Ziggler another stunner after the one more time chant. So this was good. I love the fact that the fans were behind Heavy Machinery. I think they are great. I want to see more of them. I want to see them succeed. Not only because I enjoy them, but because I want to see someone else come up from NXT and really make some sort of an impact for their division. I'm glad the fans got behind Heavy Machinery. I'm glad that they erupted when they won. And I love it. I think it's great. I wish WWE would put more focus on the tag team division and not have to worry about pairing someone like Dolph Ziggler and Kevin Owens when you got Sami Zayn waiting out there, which would have made a whole lot more sense. Or other legit teams that you got on SmackDown Live that could have easily filled in that role. Why do we need a triple threat match? I don't get it. What did Heavy Machinery do outside this win to get another tag team title match? The New Day, they lost to Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn at the pay-per-view. It doesn't make any sense to me. I really don't. But SmackDown Live, man, really nothing of importance happened on this show. It was just there. It's just there. I want these shows to not have that feeling. And I know Bischoff wasn't a part of this show because I felt nothing, I seen nothing, I heard nothing. We didn't feel anything. Same thing goes with Heyman. I heard rumors of Heyman's DNA being all over Monday Night Raw. If that's the case, you should be fucking worried. Heyman's DNA was not on Monday Night Raw. There's no way that it could have been. It was awful. Absolutely awful. Step in the right direction. Of course it's a step in the right direction because look at what you've gotten in the last 2 months. You cannot sit there and tell me that it's that difficult to be better than what we've been given. It's still garbage. No matter if it's better than what we've been given or if it's the same fucking show that we've been getting for the last 2 months. It's still garbage. No matter what they do. 16 segments every Monday. Because you enjoyed one doesn't mean that it's a good show. All because WWE jammed that one segment down your throat and it was different and fresh and new, which really wasn't. Where were you guys 2 years ago when Braun Strowman was doing this same exact thing? I enjoyed the beatdown on Roman Reigns when he shoved him off the loading dock more than I did what we seen last night. What exactly was new and fresh? What, Braun Strowman doing what he does best? Not wrestling? Destroying something on the show? Something's exploding? Someone getting carted off in an ambulance? What was different? WWE programmed you to think it was different. Meanwhile, it was the same shit. Don't ever come at me again. I know what I'm talking about. This is my show. I give you exactly what you all watch. What you do with it, that is completely up to you. I got my group of people who know that what I do here is legit. I talk a lot of sense. I'm not perfect, but I talk a lot of sense. What I do and say here is exactly what you're watching. What you do with it, that's none of my business. You have one of two things. You can agree with me, or you could be a fucking idiot. You could be ignorant. I don't want to deal with ignorant people because those people do not listen. Those people do not understand. Those people do not learn. I cannot teach you anymore on top of what I have already taught you. It is up to you to take what I give you and use it. If you don't use it, go ahead and be a simpleton. I want nothing to do with you. That is my stance on these shows this week. 2 garbage shows, lifeless, boring, directionless television shows. Thank God we got NXT. It's the one night of the week where I can actually sit down, enjoy, and be a fucking fan. Because things make sense. And that's all I want. I want things to make sense. I'm getting out of here, guys. Thank you so much. Hit that thumbs up down below. Follow me on social media at JD from NY206. That is Twitter and Instagram. Hit that subscribe button down below. Turn on that bell for all notifications. Patreon.com/JD from NY206. Make sure you guys check out Audible, audibletrial.com/offthescript. And if you guys missed my videos this week, part 1 and part 2 of Off the Script, live on the channel from this past weekend. Raw. Go check out the Raw review, which blew everybody's minds because they did not want to hear me shitting on a Paul Heyman edition of Monday Night Raw. And Paul Heyman had absolutely nothing to do with the direction of Monday Night Raw. Go figure. So who are you thumbing down? Someone who's right? Paul Heyman who wasn't there? I'd love to know. And Fyter Fest. Go check out Fyter Fest as well as I review that show from Saturday night. Thank you guys so very much. And I will see you all right back here for NXT. We got news and rumors. And we got tomorrow's television program as well. We got Roddy, Velveteen Dream, brewing. And we got Adam Cole and his World Tour, baby, as World Champion. I'll see you guys then. Thank you so very much. Hit that thumbs up. I'll see you guys right back here for NXT on Off the Script. See you guys then.